All right, here we go. Guys, happy Tuesday. It's Tuesday. It's the healthiest day of the week. It's the time of the week where we all come together and learn about health, celebrate victories. We're doing this all together. This is a little bit different season. Oh, and for those that are new, my name is Brad Miller. I'm a certified health coach with Take Shape for Life. And what's great about it is we're just part of a great community that are helping people. I have my own health journey. You have a ton of people on here that have their own. And for those that don't know, I lost 30 pounds on this program, but it's not just about the pounds and it's not just about the years I've kept it off. It's about the healthy mind, the sleep, the eating habits, the victories, the working out, the routine, the healthy people you surround yourself with. Health is so many more things than the scale and what you eat. And that's what we're celebrating each week and learning each aspects about. So this week, we're going to have a call just reminding people that also community is one of the most biggest things. Why we do this call, because we're all in this together. It's not about being perfect, but it is about moving forward and getting better every day. And the people you surround yourself with are the most vital in that. We all go into our work environments. We all have friends. We all have family. A lot of these we don't get to choose, but the unfortunate thing is 2/3 of the American population is overweight or obese or overstressed or overworked or just maybe just not nice people. This is a place for you to come in and just be with good people. And you become like the 5 people you spend the most time with, though. So this is why we invite you to spend more time and invite others to join this community. Not only that is, there's a stat, and Dan's the one that found this one, is you're 57% more likely to be overweight or obese if your friends are overweight or obese. That's way more than genetics. That's way more than your family members. That's way more than your spouse. Odd to say, but that's the big important thing on who you surround yourself with. So I'm really proud to say that this is part of a community. And no matter where you're at, you're part of it. And I'm really glad you're with us tonight. So this week's topic, hangry. Who knows what hangry is? Denise, you're smiling. It sounds like you know what hangry is. Hangry is being hungry plus angry at the same time. And if you know what that's about, then you know it's a pandemic in the epidemic, whichever one it is. It's a really big deal in the United States, especially if you're married to someone that gets hangry often. So we're going to be talking about that because that's one of the things that you can solve while that actually happens really well while you're on plan. I learned about being hangry when I first started program, but also how it was also a period in my life. So hangry is basically just low blood sugar. It's low blood sugar levels. It's basically, sometimes it happens when you go too long between high meals. It can happen easily when you eat higher sugar, higher carbs, and basically it's just crashing from that coming down. And basically, in short, it just turns you into the person at the bottom of the screen. It's not fun. It's not pretty. And no one really wants to be around someone that's hangry. And if you know someone that's hangry often, you know how you avoid them during those hangry times. You may even carry around like a juice box to give them at some points, or a snack to tide them over. So basically how this happens, and if you've seen this or probably read about this in the Habits of Health, this was I'll skip that later. This is what happens when most people are eating kind of how we are in America. And this is what's causing people to be overweight, one, but it's also causing, the lack of, balance in our insulin levels and our sugar levels rising. You can see here at the bottom, this is our blood sugar levels. So as we drink something that's high in sugar, even something that may be considered healthy like an orange juice, our blood sugar spikes. And then it goes down because when we eat something that's high in sugar, basically we produce insulin, and our body produces insulin to break down what we just took on. So the higher the sugar we intake in, the more insulin we produce, the higher the crash, the more the waves. And the bottom part of this blue piece right here is the place where you want to avoid. It's where people are hungry, they're cranky, and you basically don't want to be around them. And also, this is what lends the body into not being able to lose weight and or gain weight, because your body's constantly breaking this down and wanting to store this as fat. So basically all day long, you're craving more food, but everything you eat, your body's basically not in a state where it can just burn it, because you're still breaking down the insulin, or you're breaking down the sugar levels with the insulin. So your body's just storing fat, left and right. So this is our traditional, we see these quite often in the American daily routine. Orange juice, bagel in the morning. Man, you guys ever going to Starbucks? What's in there in the morning? What you're supposed to grab with your coffee? I'm trying to, can they get something healthy in there? They're getting better. Hamburger and soft drink, because we're so hungry by lunchtime, we're ready to eat our hand. We all know that there's the candy dish by, whoever we work by. Everyone has the traditional candy dish that we can't pass up. And then you go home, you're stressed, you're tired, and your blood sugar is low, so you eat a huge meal and you pass out. That's what the average American is. And even if you're not at this worst, you have some of this going on traditionally in most people's days. This is what happens when we're focusing on eating right, smaller meals, watching our balanced macronutrients. So basically getting sugars and carbs, proteins, and all the things we need in our body in balanced small portions is basically your body's producing enough insulin and it's pretty balanced. You can see the difference here. That's rises and falls. This is a hike I could get in on. This is a hike that wouldn't kill me. Not as many, peaks and valleys on this one. And this is basically your body operating at a very conducive level that's good for weight loss, weight maintenance, but also overall, because it is a really big thing that we need to raise awareness for, is hangriness. This really combats hangriness. So some benefits of eating properly. And many of you guys are realizing this. And this is a special time where we are in the middle of a health game. So many of you guys might just be in the health games. You might not know what the program is that we coach on or that we assist people with. Maybe some of you guys are brand new and we want to say welcome. And some of you guys have been practicing this for years. So like Denise is on my screen right now. Denise is down over, she's lost 100 pounds and maintained that for over, Denise, how 1 year, 2 years? Three? Holy cow, going on 3. That's awesome. But here are some things that happen when you eat properly the way our body was meant to every 3 hours. You get less hunger attacks. You have more friends and you have happy people around you and your family's happy. That's a good plus. It assists with your metabolism. The more often you eat, the more your fire's burning. It's kind of like adding kindling to a fire. Every so often you get a nice big flame instead of just dropping a heavy log on it, every 5 or 6 hours. It's not going to turn out so well. It stabilizes blood sugars and insulin levels. Lower chances of diabetes. Do you guys know basically diabetes? We have rises in this, and it's basically just because people are eating like I showed you in that first slide. What happens is our body produces insulin. Diabetes is just the cause of us not being able to produce insulin properly and needing help to do that. So that's what happens is with that crazy highs and lows, our body can't keep up with it. So over time, that's what happens. So if you eat properly, that actually you're less likely to have diabetes. Less crazy cravings. You guys ever been to the point where you're just so hungry, you're so hangry, you're like, I don't even know, I want to eat the things that don't even make sense. And then you get down, you're like, why did I do that? Well, it's because you were hangry. The hangry monster came out. And that's what happens when you keep an eye on your eating times and getting your body everything it needs every few hours. And then basically you're setting up your body to be fed the way it's designed. Lose weight, maintain weight, gain muscle, be happier, whatever is the case. But whatever your goal is, it's much more achievable if you're eating that way. So moreover, it basically just helps you not be this guy where you're trying to eat, you're just mad all the time. So, and the other thing is you guys have probably seen the Snickers commercials. Don't believe everything you see on TV. They are right about you, that you're not you when you're hungry. But a Snickers bar is not going to cure your hangriness. But maybe for like 20 minutes, and then you're going to be even more hangry because you saw how the insulin levels crash down there. So that's just a little bit of topic this week. What is hangry? What is blood sugar? How does it all work in the body? How come I feel so good? And as I'm losing weight, because I'm eating often, I'm giving my body everything it needs every 3 hours. Why is that working for me? How is that coming along for me? And for those that have maybe pushed your meals out or maybe caught yourself going 4 or 5 or 6 hours, on a busy day, why is it so hard? And why do I want to eat the fence when I go too long on my meals? And why is it important to make sure I'm on point with them? Well, those are all the reasons right there and why that happens. It doesn't matter if you eat, good meals, you'll still get hangry at some point if you go too long. And that's another important thing to get there. So this is where I kind of open it up to everyone here. And I just wanted to share some thoughts on maybe some people that have noticed this. Again, my most biggest takeaway from this is I learned to pay attention to my body through this program. Yes, I lost weight. Yes, all this stuff came in. But I really learned to pay attention to my body. And this is one of the first things I noticed as I was going through there, how I felt, how I had less crashes, what happened when I did go too far. So many of you started on plan for the first time these last few weeks, and some of you have been doing, on your health journey for a while. How are you doing this week, and what are you noticing at keeping track of your blood sugar levels and keeping them in check? Who wants to share today on some things that they've noticed or anything that strikes them on this topic? Someone unmuted themselves. All right, that person doesn't want to talk. I'm going to mute everyone, and then I'll open it up again. Hold on. All right, everyone's muted. Who wants to share something on this topic? Who has been hangry or experienced betterness, or betterness is not even a word, just like hangry is not really a word. has gotten better in this department or noticed anything on this, or has been very mindful to have this be one of the things that you work on in your health journey? Does anyone have any takeaways or things that you've noticed on this? You just basically be agreeing with me. Who wants to go first?
I'll go, Brad.
Yeah, thanks, Don.
As I'm just eliminating hangriness. Thank you, Dan Remekers. I'm just no more hangry. So before I sort of got my nutrition in check, and Brad, way back 5 years ago when you and I first met, and I was working as a full-time nurse up at the hospital, I was hangry all the time. I was like Nurse Ratchet. People did not. I don't think they really liked to work with me that much, especially if it was like 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon and I hadn't gotten to eat in about 6 hours. I was not the nicest person, but you know what? It doesn't happen to me anymore, because through this program, through the Habits of Health, through the 5-in-1 plan, I was able to lose 45 pounds in about 12 weeks. I've kept it off. It's been 5 years now, and I don't get hangry anymore. And my husband is so thankful. So makes a huge difference. Just feeding yourself every 2.5 to 3 hours the right things.
I love that. And actually, for those that aren't there, they don't know, share a little bit of what that's like in the hospital. You know, like you're supposed to be there helping people and supposed to be about giving people help, but everyone's hangry there too.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. There's nothing worse than a hangry resident or a hangry patient. But you know, I would go into work and I was there for 12.5, 13 hours. And you never knew when your break was going to be, for sure. You never knew what was going to come your way, because you're kind of in like that, reacting environment where you're kind of reacting to things. And I think that happens with a lot of us. Like, it doesn't have to just be the hospital, but it's really pronounced there when you don't know what's going to happen throughout the day. And it used to be kind of like almost going into a war zone. Like, okay, I had to like get myself pumped up. Like, how am I going to make it through today? You know, I have no idea what I'm going to eat, no idea if I'm going to have time to drink my water or anything like that. And, I used to stress out about that. And part of my hangriness was that I would get grumpy, that I wouldn't have time to eat or didn't know when my lunch break was going to be. And so being able to have like something really simple and with me made a world of difference. So anyways, it just was really nice to know that even if I didn't get a break, I had something to eat and I was taking care of myself. And actually putting that focus on me taking care of myself made me a better nurse. I was better able to take care of the people around me, and the ripple effect, people started actually being healthier and being more mindful around me. So instead of people going 6 hours without eating, they were actually snacking on healthier things, and everybody had water bottles instead of like Starbucks cups around. It was really neat to see kind of this gradual transition just by becoming more mindful. And they were all happy I was a lot nicer.
Yes. And that was purely selfishness on your part, because you wanted to have a healthy, happy work environment. It wasn't because you wanted to help the people, right?
It was so rewarding to get to help the people around me. Absolutely.
All right. Real quick, I wanted to just point this out. Deborah's trying to mute her or unmute her microphone, but it's not working. But she was trying to raise her hand because she was a diabetic starting program and has lost the weight and got her eating in control, and she's no longer on medication. So that's really cool, Deborah. Congratulations. We'll have to get your mic figured out so you can share that on one of the next calls. Who else here wants to share something on this topic? Can you be just as blatant as, you know, hey, you know, I was one of those people too, and this is what I figured out. A lot of moms too. You know, we have a new little one in our house, and we're both eating well. It lends itself to a happier baby and a happier marriage, because we're both not hangry, screaming at each other on lack of sleep. So that's another one of mine that I've noticed that's really good. Who else has some less hangry victories?
Brad, it's Denise.
Yeah. Hey, Denise.
Hey, you know, one of the things that, you know, I feel like I've been doing this for a long time. It's only been 3 years, and it's great having that health. But one of the things I remember today, and there goes April drinking her water, that when I get hungry or I won't get hangry anymore, but when I get hungry, what does Dr. A teach us? To go for our water. That the first sign of hunger is actually that we're thirsty. And even with my grandson, who's 6 months old, I think, oh, he's hungry. You know what? I give him a couple sips of water, he's good. And I think that as a nurse practitioner, I tell my friends, you know what? Grab that prescription pad, just prescribe water. A minimum of 100 ounces a day. Just prescribe water. It really, you don't need all those detox things, cleanse things, whatever. That's what the liver needs in order to process the toxins out of our body and the fat that we're burning. So it's simple. And that's what I love about our program is you're not hungry, you feel great, and it's as little as, making sure you get your water in. So
I love that tip. And that's actually what, Dan, we did that call, about 2 months ago, was all about water and hydration. So another tip to combat when you do get hangry is just drink some water, have your next meal. Great tip, Denise. Yeah, let's finish it up here. We're just a little bit, we're getting close to 5:50. Who wants to share one last experience or tip that they have on this that might help them as we close out tonight? Don't be shy. Unmute yourself. I know all you guys are awesome and have tips. Don't pretend like you don't have them. Come on.
Yeah. Dan and Jill.
Yes. How's it going?
Good. We're just past our second week in the program. I'm technically type 2 diabetic, and I've been checking my blood sugar every day, and it has been normal since the third day I've been on this program.
Wow. That is awesome. What was the levels that it went from to where it is right now?
I was averaging about 148. It was as low as 89 this morning.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Just purely by the initial, eating the way you're supposed to, getting all your macronutrients in correctly. That's huge. And I bet it not only you feel good from the way you're eating, but getting your blood sugars leveled out. That probably has got to feel so good for you.
It does.
Yeah, that's awesome. No hangriness on your end, right?
Nope.
Jill seems pretty happy to the left of you.
Yes.
Yes. No, yes. That's awesome. Congrats, guys. And that's a great tip. And I think that's a great one to end it out on, is just, the impact that eating does. And yes, hangry is kind of a funny topic. And yes, we should have some more awareness for hangriness. But really, it's just about eating properly every few hours, giving your body what it needs. Now you guys know a little bit more about insulin levels, how they work in the body, and what's working for you. And that's another thing I love about our plan is we get to experience it while we practice it and while we gain success. So this week, 3 weeks into the health games, those that are involved, let's kick it up a notch. Last tip of this week is when you're doing good, when you've got momentum, that's not when you start coasting. That's when you turn it up a notch. So this week, as I leave you guys all this week, what are you really implementing into your healthy lifestyle? What are you turning from, maybe a few victories into habit? It takes 30 days to build a habit. We're 22 days in to building habit right now. Or for some of you, a lot longer. For Denise, what's that, 700 and something odd days, going on more, maybe 1,000 days. What my encouragement for you this week is to be mindful of your eating times, be mindful of hangriness and how your body works. But more importantly, what are you implementing this week that you're going to step up and make habit? The only true way to get rid of bad habits is to replace them with good habits. So that's my encouragement for you this week. Let's step it up. 3 more weeks in the games. Let's get some solid victories done here. And we'll have to circle everyone up to kind of share their victories as we're kind of going down the home stretch and as we recap and go into just our weekly calls. So everyone have a great night. Thanks for joining in. It's the healthiest place you can be on a Tuesday night. Let's go make it a great week. Talk to you guys later.